the Vice President of Marketing and Motorsports for General Mills Incorporated. He leads all marketing efforts with General Mills sales, working directly with some of the world's largest retailers, like Walmart, Target, Sam's, and Costco. In addition, he has the fun job of managing General Mills NASCAR partnership. He is currently a member of the Board of Directors and Executive Committee at Minnehaha Academy in Minneapolis. He received his MBA in Marketing and Finance from Northwestern University's Kellogg Graduate School of Management in 1991, and he earned his BE degree in Mechanical Engineering from Vanderbilt University in 1985. So please give a warm welcome to Mr. Patrick.
Can you guys hear me? Thank you for that. I love doing these things for one reason and one reason only. It's because I get to hear about all the great stuff I feel like I've done. I'm like, that's not me. I appreciate being here. Rumor has it that you guys actually got to select and opt into this. You weren't forced to do it, so I just was happy that somebody showed up this morning. So, how many of you are seniors? Who's seniors? So we got 4 or 5. Do you guys know where you're going to school? Not sure yet. Anybody know? Has anybody picked? Yeah? Okay. I would just say, you know what, congratulations. And the rest of you that are watching these seniors should say congratulations. You guys have done a great job. You've been at a great school. How many years? Who's been here the longest? If you're a senior, how long have you been?
I'm not a senior.
How long have you been here?
I'm a lifer.
A lifer? So you've been here, what, 12 years already probably? Something like that?
Yeah.
And 12 years? Anybody else? How long have some of the seniors been here? Since just high school? Okay. I was in the very first class that could be here 13 years. So I was here all 12 years, first through 12, and I was in the very first class of kindergartners, basically, half-day or full-day kindergarten. Okay, so it was 31 years ago that I graduated, but it was 44 years ago that I started. And this morning I had this great opportunity to go up and see my niece. My son's daughter is in half-day kindergarten, and she was doing a poem this morning. And all I could think of standing up there was, I was like, wow, how much things have changed. You come down here to this building, and it's fantastic, and it's outstanding. And then I stood up there this morning, and I said, how little has it changed? And the only thing I could really think of, I'm watching her do her prayer, and I'm watching her do the poem, and those are the exact same poems and the exact same prayers we did, and it's the exact same McGuffey reader that they use. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. But then all I could think of was, you know, it's actually the exact same flagpole that my younger brother stuck his tongue to, and I thought, now that, you know, so really how little things have changed, and his best friend is sitting in the back of the room here, so I had to tell that story. Character takes courage, okay? Yes or no? Yes? Who votes yes? No? Okay. Okay, so great. We're all on the same page. Character takes courage. I'll give you a little background on myself, and then you heard a little bit of the work story, but I really want to take a chance to talk to you about character, courage, and choices. Okay, so that's what you're going to hear from me. I would love it if you have a question, ask. If I stand here for 40 minutes and talk, that will be a problem for all of us. Okay? Character takes courage. What I do. Okay, what you heard, what she just introduced me, you heard what I do. Okay? I worked on the very first Hewlett-Packard DeskJet printer. Okay? Very first inkjet printer. First time you could do letter quality. Fantastic. I was an engineer coming out of Brookfield Academy and Vanderbilt University. Loved it. I traveled all over the world, basically teaching people about Hewlett-Packard printers. Okay, loved it. Then I went to General Mills, and does anybody know what that is?
Hamburger helper.
Hamburger helper, the helping hand. My first job at General Mills was I was the marketing guy on Hamburger Helper, and I had one question, probably the exact same question you guys have is, why does the hand have only 4 fingers? Right? Have you ever noticed that before? Okay, it has only 4 fingers. Why? Because every cartoon only has 4 fingers. Mickey Mouse only has 4 fingers. Check it out next time. Great job, Hamburger Helper, right? Then I helped General Mills buy Chex Cereal as a $250 million acquisition. We had no idea what we were doing. We just did it, okay? And you learn and you grow and you do what you can. and it's fantastic. So great opportunity. And then I got really the opportunity of a lifetime. Anybody know what this product is? Have any of you guys had this product? Okay. Well, I'm the guy who launched that into the marketplace. Okay. So I worked on the development. Yeah. I knew it was a good idea when I had little kids at the time, and I took home, and it was in a white box with white tubes. We didn't have the graphics on it, and I took it home, and my kids were playing in the yard with a bunch of other kids, and they opened it up, and within 3 minutes, 16 tubes were gone, right? Because there's 8 tubes in every box. So I have one trivia question. Do you know what the length of a Go-Gurt tube is?
Foot.
9 inches. Now, the question is, right? That's impressive. That's impressive. Now, let's ask the next question. Let's see how smart he really is. Do you know why it's 9 inches? See, we had to humble him. He was getting a little carried away with himself. Huh? All right. So here's the reason. It fits diagonally in a lunchbox. Right? It's not rocket science, right? You got to get it in a lunchbox. If it was 10 inches, it doesn't go in a lunchbox, and all of a sudden kids don't eat it, right? Okay. So, and by the way, here's the kind of thing I get to do. If you'll have a listen.
The new Go-Gurt tube roller. One in each specially marked bag. You can collect all 4. So, till it's black. Roll beyond that.
Tube roller.
Right? So that's what I do for a living, right? I get to make commercials like that, and I work with those kids, and we pick out the colors of the sleeping bags, and we look at the copy and the print, and we pick the characters. I tell you, I get to pick each one of those people that does those things. It's a blast, okay? I do things like box tops for education. Have you guys, who's clipped box tops and brought those in, right? Every one of you, right? So we do that. General Mills has given over $40 million to schools, okay, like Brookfield Academy. So I get to work on great things like that. Now that is what I do, okay? That is what I do for a living, okay? That is not who I am, right? Is there a difference, right? You heard about what John Ruff and his, Olympic accomplishments, but that's different than who John is, okay? And that's different from who I am, okay? So who I am, the first thing about who I am is I'm a husband, okay? To my wife. Okay, that's who I am. Okay, I'm a father. Okay, I have a daughter who just accepted med school at University of Minnesota, so I'm very proud of her. And I'm a father of a son. Okay, who spends more time upside down in the summer on his wakeboard than he does right side up. Okay, a daughter who does nothing but play soccer all the time and get all the boys to like her, which is a bit of a problem for me. And so that's who I am, right? I don't take my work home with me, and my kids go, "Hey, good job, Dad, you made Go-Gurt today." Okay, that is not what happens. I go home, and I have to have character in front of those kids, right? In front of my kids. That's my job at home, right? I have to demonstrate character. That's not always easy, but I tell you, having character is a lot easier when you got 4 folks like this that you have to take care of every day. Okay, and you have to be a role model for. Okay, so that's much more of who I am than what I do. Okay, so what was the foundation of that? Where does that all come from? Certainly, my mother and father were a big part of that. They sacrificed to send me here when Brookfield Academy was one building. One building. It was the Founders Hall. Do you know my office, or my classroom? My first classroom was Dr. Sulzer's office. Okay? We used to carry the wood in from outside and put it in the fireplace in the living room so we could have a fire in the middle of the winter. Crazy, crazy, okay? So my mom and dad are in the back. Thank you, they've supported me. I appreciate a round of applause for them. I'll share one story that they challenged me, right? And so they helped build my character. They challenged me. I was an A-B student, sometimes a little more B's than A's, but sports was everything to me. That was the thing that mattered. That's why I woke up every morning, was to go beat somebody on some playing field. Football, basketball, track, didn't matter. I got to win. And I had more B's than A's. I wasn't working very hard. And my parents said, hey, can you do better than you're doing in school? And the answer is, yeah, I think I can. So, well, we do too. So guess what? You're not playing basketball until you do. So I had to go in, and at the time, guess who the head coach was? Dr. Salzrud. He's my head coach, and I had to say, Coach, I can't play. I'm the starting point guard. Can't play. Well, why is that? I'm not doing well enough in my grades. And you know what he said? He said, and I had told him, my parents, we had made that decision, and he said, yep, I support your parents. That's the right call. I can tell you, that builds character. That hurt. 4 weeks later, when that report card came out, guess what? My grades were a heck of a lot better. Okay? That built character. That was not fun. That was not easy. It was the right thing. I never got close to ever not being on a team again, because that's what mattered to me. Okay, so great motivation, great character. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Picture of myself, my two brothers, Mike and Brad, at the Super Bowl, no less. That was a blast. Great time. I will tell you, I had one goal in life. Okay, one goal in life, and that was to beat him at anything I could. Okay? He was the center on the basketball team. I was the point guard. He was the wide receiver. I was the quarterback. And then we both high jumped together. I had one goal in life. And he was nice about it, right? He didn't let me win, but that was my goal, was to beat him at everything I did. And that built my character. And both these guys today, they both own their own companies, run their own business. I aspire to be like these guys every day. That's built my character, okay? And I appreciate that and appreciate what they've done for me. Friends, right? High school, believe it or not, that's a high school football team. That's me in the middle. I was really little. I was 5'9" and 130 pounds, played both ways, and on kickoff, special teams both ways. Okay? Jeff Jones on the left, Tracy Cleveland, and Amy Keene. Now, some of you, the reason I put these folks up here is because friends matter. Right? The people you're sitting next to, they will help you with your character, right? They help you with your choices. So, does anybody recognize that person in the upper left?
Mrs. Eggert.
Mrs. Eggert. That's exact. Pardon?
That's my mom.
Is that your mom? I'm Pat Simmons. I dated your mom. Okay? So there she is, right? There she is. Just one of my truly best friends. In fact, your grandmother was my first grade teacher. Okay, so you talk about heritage. Talk about heritage, right? Brookfield Academy heritage. Isn't that funny? Now, don't be telling any stories. I hope she hasn't told you any stories. But, okay, that matters. Your friends matter to you, okay? And then this picture, this is me actually receiving the Character Award my senior year. Of all the accomplishments I got at Brookfield Academy, top of the list, okay? But the really cool part about this picture is in the lower right-hand corner. Right? That is not Vladimir Putin. Okay? I know it looks like Vladimir Putin, but do you know who that is? Right? That is Dr. Salzrud. All right? So, and at the time, we didn't call him doctor. He wasn't Dr. Salzrud. He wasn't Mr. Salzrud. Right? He was coach at best. Okay? And when he was coaching us, sometimes we called him other things too. I can't share. But, right, so big impact on my life. Big impact. Coach Salzrud, he challenged me, he helped me, he encouraged me. Okay? So that matters. So that helped build the foundation of character for me. Okay? So let's talk about courage takes character. What's the definition? Character, the set of qualities that make somebody or something distinctive. Okay? Highlight set of qualities. It is not an event. Character is not an event. Character is a set of qualities. They build over time, right? Okay? So that character comes over time. That's why they start in the lower school and you do prayers and talk about the 5 stars. And guess what? They give character awards because years later you become who you are. Courage, the ability to face danger or difficulty without being deflected from a chosen course of action. So you want to go do something and you will not be stopped. Right? So it's easy if you want to change direction, you just go change direction. That does not take courage. Okay? But to want to do something and have an issue and have a reason to not do it, the question is, what will your choice be? And to me, it's about choices. So it's character, courage, and choices, 3 C's. So let's talk a little bit about choices for a second. Okay? Let's talk about people and choices. Okay? I'm going to put some folks up on the screen. Anybody know who that is? Do you guys know? like Francesco Chirizi, okay? This guy was captain of the ship that sunk off of Italy. What did he do? He abandoned ship, right? At least 11 people died. He chose, at the moment of greatest crisis, this guy jumps ship, and people die, okay? That's a bad choice. That is character, right? He, at the moment of greatest need, he made the wrong choice, right? We always talk about character around here, Brookfield Academy, and we always think of it as good character. Well, guess what? There can be either no character or bad character, okay? This guy made a bad choice. That was a reflection of his character, and it is part of who he is, okay? On the flip side, do you guys know who this guy is? Sully Sullenberger, right? So this guy, do you know what happened when the birds hit the plane? The plane was already on autopilot, 90 seconds into takeoff, right? This guy, the birds hit, this guy says, he grabs the control, he says, "Captain in charge." Captain in charge. He's now in charge of this thing, and he's got to land. He's trying to make it to an airport. He bails. He says, "I can't make it to the airport." He lands the thing perfectly flat on the Hudson River. The thing floats. All 155 people walk off that thing. It's unbelievable. At the moment of greatest need, he said, "Captain in charge." This guy says, "Captain not in charge." So the question is, what's your choice, right? Okay. So here's another guy. Okay. Who's this?
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, right? Okay, good character, bad character, which one? Right? This guy makes lousy choices every day, and he does it on TV. Okay, and he does it in the movies. Okay, lousy choices, bad character. Okay, oppose that to this guy. You might not like this guy in his football. Okay, that's fine. Okay, but do you know what he does for over 2 hours after every single football game, win or lose? Right? He spends time with an underprivileged kid or a terminally ill patient. More than 2 hours after every single game. And he makes that person feel like the most special person in the world. And guess what? He's been doing that since he was in college. He didn't start doing that when he was here. He did it because his character that's important to him. Because he has good character. He made a choice to invest in others rather than this guy who, at best, invested in himself, right? So about choices. So here's a group of folks who made a choice to fly planes into the World Trade Center, right? What's been the impact of that? 10 years worth of wars, okay? Huge, huge decision these guys made. Bad character, these guys made a choice, okay? On the flip side, the exact same place, the exact same moment, there are firefighters that made the choice to go into that very same building and walk up and save people. They do not do that because they are wimps. They don't do it. They do it because they have courage. They do it because they have character. And they made a choice to go up when they didn't have to. Okay? And so think about the contrast in those choices that they made. Okay? And lastly, right, who is that?
All of them.
So how many of you had to read Lord of the Rings? Okay? Almost all of you. Lord of the Rings, right? This guy made choices, right? The ring. What did the ring do?
Made him evil.
Made him evil. It corrupted him, right? He couldn't resist. He couldn't help himself. It controlled him. Ultimately, it was his destruction, right? Okay? So who is that in contrast to? Okay, Frodo, right? All right, so Frodo. But the cool part about Frodo, right, is he didn't do it alone. He didn't make that choice. He couldn't resist the ring by himself. What did he need?
Sam.
He needed Sam, and he needed 9 friends, right? Fellowship of the Ring, right? He needed 9 friends by his side minute by minute. And I challenge you, who are your friends? Who are the people by you that are helping you make the right choices? Okay? And because of that, Frodo's able to live and survive and deny the ring. Okay? And so that's just a contrast of choices. Okay? So my question for you is, what are your choices? Right? What are your choices? Who are your friends? Are your friends building you up? Are you making your friends better? Who are you spending your time with? Are they the ones that are going to implore you to have greater character and make the right choice? Okay? Drugs, right? Easy, say no. That's right, that's all you hear, right? Well, the question is, will you really say no? okay, when somebody brings that up or wants to do that or wants you to try something, okay? So my question for you is that's easy when it's somebody you don't like and you don't respect. Well, what happens if it's a good friend that actually brings it up? What do you do then? What if it's your best friend and they say, hey, come try this? That is the moment when you have the choice to build character or destroy character. And it's your choice. It's in your hands. Okay? It's not somewhere else. It's in your hands. And so I challenge you to make that choice, right? It's probably easy to cheat on a test. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to know except you. And that's one step toward good character or bad character. So that's my question for you. A phrase that I love is, do the right thing. Even if it hurts, it's still the right thing. So will you? Do you? That's the question. Okay? My favorite quote, this is actually my high school quote. If you go back to the 1981 yearbook, you should find this in there. Okay? This is a synopsis of who I am. Okay? Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. Okay? I love that. That's Winston Churchill, one of the great leaders of all time. And for me, the more the challenge, the person says, great, the mountain's higher. I'm going, great, we'll climb it faster. Okay? I used to high jump a little bit, and the higher the bar, the more I loved it. And I was the shortest guy out there. I was 5'9". Okay? And I loved jumping against guys who were 6'5", because I knew I could beat them. And so the higher the obstacle, the more encouraged I got. Kites rise against the wind. That makes sense, right? Kites rise, the heavier the wind, the higher the kite goes. That's how they're built. That's how it's wired, okay? So the analogy there is the challenge, the greater the obstacle. Are you going to choose at that moment to soar, or do you get blown with the wind, okay? But the half of this equation is missing, okay? You get it, right? Kites rise against the wind, not with it, okay? But what you are missing here is that kite does not rise if it is not anchored, right? Right? If there's nothing holding the kite, it blows with the wind. It goes wherever it wants, right? If you do not have an anchor, and the question is, what's your anchor? For me, that's my faith in Christ. It's my anchor. I try to be true to that. It works for me. It's very important, and it helps my character every day, my family. Okay. For you, what is your anchor? Maybe it's your mom and dad. You're in high school. Mom and dad have set the ground rules. It's great, right? They kind of have it. Well, what happens when you go to college and mom and dad aren't there? Mom and dad aren't anchoring you. Are you going to blow with the wind, or is your character such that you will rise when obstacles occur? Okay, that's the question. That's why I love this quote. To me, it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Again, the choice is yours, and what is your foundation? Okay, what are you anchored to? Okay, and just a couple of final thoughts as I wrap up. These are just words that very important to me. I'll share a couple of thoughts on them. Effort. And, I think Catherine this morning, right? Didn't she talk a little bit about this? You can't control the cards you're dealt, right? But you can control how you play the game. Okay, you can control effort. Okay, you can put in the effort. You don't always know the outcome. I can flat out tell you the times I've worked the hardest at General Mills. I worked on Nature Valley granola bars, and the business stunk. Okay, and it was the worst. And it was miserable. Okay, but man, I learned more, and I became better than I ever could have without that. And so I put in more effort, and I got better. Okay, so the question is, are you putting in the effort? Okay, because that's something that you can control. Okay, persevere. Okay, perseverance. Can you endure? Can you persevere through that obstacle longer than anybody else? One of my favorite quotes. I have lots of favorite quotes. A great one. Okay, picture the Grand Canyon. Okay, picture the Grand Canyon. Great quote. In the battle between the water and the rock. Think of the Grand Canyon. In the battle between the water and the rock, the water always wins. Not through strength, but through perseverance. Think of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon's there because the water won. The rock is stronger than the water, but the rock can't win. So can you persevere? Okay? I love that. That just, to me, is so energizing. You can persevere. You might not be the strongest. I flat out know. I was not the best student at Brookfield Academy. I was a CD student when I walked into engineering at Vanderbilt University, and I almost didn't get out of my first year. Okay? And today, I'm a vice president at General Mills, to whatever success that means. I'm very blessed and thankful. But I will tell you, it is through perseverance. It is not through raw horsepower. Okay? So if you're not the top in your class, and I'm guessing there's a lot of you that are not the top in your class, okay? That's okay. That's okay. Now, somebody might be the top in the class. All right. Compete. I love to compete. It makes you better. Competition makes you better. I love to compete. My team at work says, hey, anytime we want to get Pat to do something, we'll just make it a competition. So we compete for everything. We compete on what the orders are going to be for that day. Who's going to get the closest? I mean, it's crazy. So I encourage competition. To me is very good. Not competition where somebody else has to lose. Competition where you have to be better. Okay? A great quote, Ken Venturi, a golfer and a golf analyst today, Ken Venturi said, you do not need to be better than all the other guys. You need to be better than you ever thought you could be. Think about that. You don't have to beat the other people. You got to take yourself up. Can you be better than you ever thought you could be? That's the challenge. Not, can you be better than Joe? Can you be better than Sally? Okay, can you be better than you ever thought you could be? Okay, completely different. Challenge yourself. Great book. Has anybody read it? Do the Hard Thing. Do Hard Things. Okay, great book. Do hard things. Do not always choose the easier road. Kites rise against the wind, not with it. You take the easy road, that's going with the wind. You do not rise. You do not rise to the occasion by always taking the easier road. Okay, so challenge yourself. Okay, encourage. I love encourage because the word courage is in it. Encourage each other, right? Take a chance today. Somebody's down. Somebody doesn't have things going right. It's not perfect. Life isn't perfect. Encourage one another. Encourage each other, okay? Make that part of your mission. One of the things I was saying is, you know, I work at a school or work with kids, teachers at our school in Minneapolis, and the question I always ask them is, hey, have you taken the opportunity to inspire somebody today? Guess what? You guys do that. You do that with your own work. You inspire each other, right, with who you are and how you do. Okay, so the last thing, this is the last slide for me. Make the right choice. Character is the result. Don't strive for great character. Strive to make each choice, and you will end up with great character. Make sense? And that makes it easy, because it's not, hey, how do I become a person of great character? No, it's how do I make the right choice today? How do I choose to sit by somebody who's going to lift me up? Can I choose to say no when somebody asks me to do something I know isn't right? Okay? And how many of you know the right thing to do? Almost always you know the right thing, right? In your heart of hearts you know. So having great character is not difficult, but you do have to persevere. You do need to make the right choice, and you do it one step at a time. Q&A? Questions, thoughts? Agree, disagree? How much time we got? About 10 minutes, I think, something like that. Thoughts, questions?